Hi everyone, JJ here with Experiences with My Dog, and this time around we're going to be taking a look at a couple of new products from the Himalayan Dog Chew Company. So they, for a while now, for a couple of years, they've produced one of my favorite products for Bowie and Ultron, and that's this right here. It's a dog chew. It's a fantastic natural chew. There's pretty much only 4 ingredients in this. There's no binding agents. It lasts a long time. It's very reasonably priced for the length of time and for the quality of enjoyment that they get out of it. And I've been really interested to see how they were going to go about expanding their product line. And they've done this already a little bit by adding some really interesting things like Yaky puffs, which are essentially the end pieces, but they're puffed up, and you can do that yourself by actually getting the end pieces of this and putting them in the microwave. And they've done a couple of other little things like the lean licks, which is something we haven't reviewed here on the channel yet, but it'll be coming in the future, and it's something that I've also been a fan of. So when I saw that they were coming out with essentially a new line that they call Yaky Snacks, which was going to be comprising essentially the base ingredient that they use for the Himalayan Dog Chew, but incorporating potato starch essentially as a binder to be able to reduce the overall coarseness and the hardness and be able to have a softer texture. I thought this was interesting, and I could definitely see value for a lot of different dog owners that are looking for a treat to be able to provide their dog that has a minimal ingredient list, is healthy, and something that can allow your dog to settle down and kind of focus on that, whether it's for anxiety, whether it's as a treat, or whether it's just something to allow them to exercise their jaws, their muscles, be able to clean their teeth, and things along those lines. So we're going to specifically this time around be taking a closer look at the brand new Yaky Snacks line and 3 specific treats that they have underneath that. So let's go ahead and take a closer look and see what we've got. So before we get into the specifics of what these are all about and of course their ingredients and everything else, we want to quickly talk about pricing and availability. So you get 3 in a pack, which I think is pretty reasonable. Of course, we still want to see how long they last. In terms of where you can get them at, you can pretty much get them from Chewy, you can get them Amazon, you can get them Petco. So they're pretty much at all the key, I'd say, e-tailers and retailers that we're really interested in seeing availability from. So that's solid. And in terms of the price point, it varies a little bit, of course, depending on where you're purchasing it. So you're talking about as little as about $6.50 all the way up to as much as $11.50 on Amazon, and Petco's right about there in the middle at $8. When you consider that a bully stick is going to be somewhere between about $2 to about $5 for a 6-inch, depending on the company and where it's sourced and some other variables, and a comparable dog chew like the Himalayan Dog Chew, a large is going to probably be around $9 to as much as about $12. I think it's pretty reasonable as long as these last, at least I'd say 5 to 10 minutes, if not longer. Of course, that depends on the dog and other aspects. So I think pricing is pretty solid. So let's go ahead and find out a bit more about the specifics in terms of the flavors, ingredients, and a lot more. So jumping right into it, we've got these 3 new items that we're going to be taking a look at here. So these are underneath the Himalayan Dog Chew Company's Yaky Snacks line. So pretty much what you have here are products where they're taking advantage of the base ingredient composition that they use to produce the dog chew product, and then essentially finding out how to do interesting variations on that, or maybe adding a couple of things to it. And so the goal here, as we noted, is to make a softer chew and essentially maximize what they're producing. I think they hit the nail on the head. So we've got 3 different flavors here. We've got cheese, we've got fish, and we've got chicken. So I think that in terms of their flavor profiles, they hit the nail on the head. I think for pretty much most dogs out there, you're going to be able to find a flavor that fits with your dog, and you're not going to have any issues with that. Now, first and foremost, this is a US-based product, which I'm always a big fan of. Helps to maintain, I think, the overall quality of the production first and foremost, and be able to ensure that you can feel confident in purchasing this product and giving it to your dog. Now, going along with that, I like to see here that in terms of the packaging, it's really clear, it's concise. You also actually have batch coding, which is nice to see on any type of product or treat, just because it helps you to be able to streamline the process to be able to find out that in the event, if there is some type of recall, you can reference information very easily on the product to know if your product is effective, as opposed to kind of worrying that I have to go look at the receipt or contact the company or go about different things. If you're essentially, you go to their website or you go back to the store and you see that there's some type of notice or something like that in play, it just makes the process that much easier. So in terms of the items themselves, let's go ahead and first take a closer look at the ingredient composition. So here we're, of course, always fans of more limited ingredient composition, naturally derived ingredients. So we don't want to see artificial flavors and colors. We don't want to see a lot of things that don't necessarily need to be in there, especially if we're trying to give something that's generally naturally sourced. And I think that that's one of the great things about the Himalayan Dog Chew product, is that we're only taking a look at 4 different items, and there was no fillers, there was no binders, things like that. So what we have here is potato potato starch, which is fine. It's a proven ingredient. It's been around for a very long time. It's been used in a lot of dog treats. And while it's not something that you want to be giving first and foremost as a primary item to your dogs, used in the capacity of what it's used here, which is to be able to go ahead and affected the overall texture and make this softer, I think it's entirely fine. So no big issues there in terms of a potato starch. Then from there, you've got Himalayan cheese, you've got cow or yak milk, you have salt, lime juice, and then chicken powder, and then potassium sorbate. So you might be wondering, well, what's potassium sorbate? Well, this is actually a item that's specifically there for mold inhibition, and it's essentially a preservative, so it helps to ensure that this has good shelf stability. But like always, you want to make sure to put this out of direct sunlight. You don't want to have it be anywhere where you're going to have high temperature ranges that could affect the overall quality of the product, but that goes true for any dog food or any dog treat. You want to keep it in a overall area that doesn't receive a lot of direct sunlight and is relatively cool and doesn't have abnormal humidity or anything along those lines. So beyond that, I am also a big fan of the overall size. So sometimes you see dog chews and things like that I think don't necessarily hit a great balance of being able to be complementary to a wide range of different dogs. So Bowie, our smaller dog, is about 40 pounds, and she's maybe going to get a little bit bigger. She's about 8 months right now. She maybe has a little bit more to go. Ultron, who's almost now 16 months, is now about settled at about 60 pounds. So essentially for our two dogs, we're taking a look at medium to large size, with large generally going from about 60 to 100 pounds, right? And then definitely smaller dogs being 15 pounds and under. I think actually this hits a great balance for working for small, medium, and large dogs. So it's fantastic to see. And I think what we're most interested to see is overall in the long term how the value proposition plays out compared to something like a Himalayan Dog Chew or Bully Sticks in terms of giving this to your dog consistently for whether it's an engagement, treat, focus, anxiety, whatever it might be that you're going to be supplementing, what the cost structure breaks down, and also how long it lasts, because that's going to of course affect that type of consideration as well from a cost perspective. So we'll be doing of course our overall hands-on review and impressions with this a little bit later once we get the chance to be able to spend some time with them, see what their initial palatability is like for it, whether they enjoy it, and how long it takes them to get through it. And we'll come back and we'll post a follow-up video. You're going to want to make sure to, of course, subscribe and check out when that gets posted. So with that gives you a little bit of a perspective now on one of the awesome new product lines from Himalayan Dog Chew, specifically with Yaky Snacks. And we're interested in definitely taking a look at it and see what it's all about. So make sure to keep it subscribed here. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, make sure to drop them into the comment section. We'll do our best to go ahead and get back to you guys when we can. Beyond that, I would make sure to check out the description. You'll find out our links for our Twitter and our Facebook, as well as our email if you want to be able to make recommendations or insights on things that you guys want to check out or different topics that you want to be able to have covered in a video. So make sure to check that out. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. With that, take care, take it easy, enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to spay and neuter your dogs.